Okay, so Kate Middleton is, according to this video, receiving treatment for cancer. But there are some issues. Although the voice appears authentic and somebody is reading from a script, I don't know whether it's voice sampling. It does seem fluent. The technology exists to clone your voice and get somebody to say using your voice what they want you to say. Right? That can be done. In fact, the technology to do that has existed for many years. I assume that the new technology is so good that you probably would not be able to tell whether the person is really saying those things or is it just computer simulation. For example, if you take thousands of words from someone's vocabulary, it might be possible for you to somehow restructure them to make it sound like they're speaking, or use technology to make it sound like a person is speaking when in fact they're not. Okay. Another point I'd like to make is this garden bench thing. The background is false. That's not a. This is a green screen. There's no bird song or outdoor noise at all. It's just a picture which at least they've tried to make it look reasonably. I mean, they could have just used snow, couldn't they? But I guess they felt like that would be a bit too obvious. But it's just a picture of spring flowers and some trees in blossom. But this is not. She has not been pictured outdoors. Obviously, you could make the argument that someone who's become ill has the right to be private and to recover. That's plausible. But is that the true reason? Or has something else happened? Could she have been killed? Did she die? It's all very weird. It's all very weird. Another thing that I noticed is that the symbolism of the clothes she's wearing, stripes. Stripes is quite symbolic. Let me show you. Black and white hoops are the uniform of both crime and punishment. By the way, this is from the BBC. Of swag bag, burglar and captured convict. Hoops were the visual equivalent of the leper's bell. If it's hooped, it's dodgy. And if it's dodgy, then it better stand out because you need to see it coming and stay away. Striped outfits also made escape and evading recapture more difficult. Right. The earliest striped uniforms were designed to symbolise prison bars. Right. So that is something worth considering, is it not? That maybe we're not being told the truth. Could that be AI? Could it be an AI voice? Could it have been pre-recorded? I mean, it sounded plausible. Yeah? But the fact it's a green screen, I mean, that at least I'm certain about. I mean, she didn't. So she went in for routine surgery, and while she was there, she had a cancer diagnosis. And now she's getting chemo. I have to say, my personal research into chemo is that it's bad for you and that you shouldn't get it. And that a lot of times people get false diagnosis. The chemotherapy itself will end up killing you. So you're probably better off staying away from doctors. I mean, if you feel okay, don't assume there might be something wrong with you. They're very keen to test you. If you feel okay, if you're fit, and if you feel okay, then you probably are okay. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. There might be something wrong with you that you don't know about. It's a risk that you might have to take. But if you do go to the doctor and you do get tested, you might discover that you are actually ill when you're not, because they do quite often give false diagnosis, either by accident by faulty testing systems, such as the false positives for COVID, or simply because of greed. Because apparently in America, you get up to $5,000 um, if you diagnose a patient who's got cancer. I suspect it's similar in the UK. Maybe not £5,000, but maybe there are incentives to pretend, or perhaps the diagnosis tests themselves are deliberately faulty to give make it seem as if people are ill. And then people I've met who have had chemo tell me it's really awful. So perhaps they'd be better off if they didn't get it and just see if they can survive without the treatment. I'm not convinced by chemo at all. Statins is another thing that makes people ill. But the bottom line is, why did they put her in a prison uniform, or something that symbolically could be prison uniform? I mean, obviously, most people when they see hoops, stripes, they don't necessarily think of prisoners, but everything that the royal family do, or their minders do, is carefully scripted. For example, what what Kate said is a script. I mean, even if that was her who said it, that's not her. She's not just sitting down and just explaining what's going on. She's reading a script, and that script was almost certainly not written by her, even if you assume that that's really her speaking. Something I have my doubts about. Thank you for your time.